Hello, guys. Welcome to another episode of the e-commerce lab by Ecomcy, the place where I relate to Amazon ABA Pro Level and e-commerce. My name is Vincenzo Toscano, founder and CEO of Ecomcy, and today we bring another special guest. His name is Brandon. He's the co-founder of AMZ Innovate, which I will say is making a lot of noise in the Amazon space. It's one of the top events right now when it comes to supporting Amazon sellers. And that's why I wanted to bring Brandon today because I really think for us Amazon sellers and entrepreneurs, networking and learning from other experts is definitely something that's going to help you scale your business forward. And I think this is an event you cannot miss, and this is going to be all about today's conversation, what you can expect, why you should be there, and also some of the insights in terms of what are going to be the main takeaways. So Brandon, thank you so much for being here. It's a pleasure to have you. How you doing, my friend?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Thank you. It's great. And we actually met in person for the first time in Accelerate. Just very quickly outside
Yeah,
of one of the break rooms. I remember we were seeing each other. Then we saw the name tags. Oh, I know who you are.
that was like every conversation I had at Accelerate. It was just like you'd see someone for like 3 seconds and be like, hi, and then they would just disappear.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. I know. So tell us, a little bit about Brandon because, you have an amazing background in the Amazon space. You've been doing this for so many years now, and you are the co-founder of one of the top events in the space. So tell us how everything started and how you got to where you are right now.
Yeah, so I'm primarily a seller. I've got a kitchenware brand that's been I've had for almost 10 years now, which I can't even believe I'm saying that, but yeah, it's been 10 years.
Wow.
And yes, I've been selling on e-commerce for that long. I've been before that even on Amazon. I had been selling on my own store, selling oil paintings for a while. So I've been doing e-commerce for a long time. And our event is kind of like kind of came out of trying to do my own brand, and that's kind of how it got started. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm primarily that's pretty much what I do every day is run my brand.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things I love about the story behind Amazon Innovate because it's like it was pretty much funded by sellers. It's not like other events that sometimes it's driven by service providers and there's sometimes another agenda behind. Like here, there's like pure hunger to really share your learnings and your mistakes and what is working in your business, what is not working. And I think that's something that sellers value a lot, especially in 2024. That there is so much info out there and sometimes difficult to filter what is really meaningful for your business. So I guess for Amazon Innovate, like tell me from the perspective of you as a seller, like what is some of the main takeaways when you were coming up with the whole concept you wanted for the event to have from the perspective of that's what I want my event to have that no other events have. What was that like a special sauce that you wanted your event to have that is making it so successful? Yeah, what do you say?
Yeah, so our event basically started by accident.
Oh, really?
So my
Okay.
partner Jared Orkin started a meetup.com group. Like that's how old it is, about
Yeah, yeah.
8 or 9 years ago, right around when I was first starting. I was living in the East Village of Manhattan. He lived in Manhattan, and he put together this meetup group. And I went, and there was like 4 people there, like sitting at a table, just trying to
Typical.
understand what it was like to sell on
Yeah.
Amazon and what that was like, and selling online. And then I went to the next one, and there was like maybe 10 people there.
Cool.
I started helping Jared run it at that time because I went to every single one. I had nothing else better to do. And it went from 10 to 20 to 40 to 80, and it just grew massively to, that group still exists. And there's, I think, over 2,000 people in that meetup group. And at some point in 2018, Jared called me and said, hey, do you want to put on a conference? And I said, I've got no experience doing that. Do you? And he said, no. And then we did it anyway. And we put on a conference for like 120 people in this like little basement venue. And then, the next year it went to 250, then 350, then 550, and it's just been growing ever since, just into this big business. Last year we had over 700 people. And
Wow.
yeah, it's just grown to this massive event in Manhattan that I don't think any of us expected to have. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I think some of the success is like you said. We're sellers, and we're putting on the event that we want to see as sellers, and the content that we want to hear from the people we want to hear it from, and sometimes leveraging connections and favors to get people to speak who don't necessarily speak at these events.
Yeah.
So like last year we had Gibran from Utopia Deals, who's like
Uh-huh.
I just heard he's like gonna hit like just insane revenue numbers
Crazy.
this year.
Yeah, yeah.
He's now probably the
Crazy.
number one seller in the world on all of Amazon.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, like
No, no.
hundreds of millions. It's crazy. But yeah, so just kind of and that's kind of how the event came about.
Yeah, I love it. I think, I actually can definitely relate to what you're saying in terms of, we as sellers sometimes, go through so many obstacles on a daily basis that we say, I wish somebody would talk about this. I wish somebody could teach about this. And then when you go through your journey as a seller, it's very easy for you to, come up with concepts and presentations or keynotes that other people wouldn't have the mindset to really speak about it. And I hear that all the time from people that have been to your events. Like they really love the perspective that is from seller to seller, right?
Mhm.
Just another service provider is trying to tell you how their tool can make their life so much easier, and I guess going back as well to well, you also mentioned the speakers. I agree with that. Like I, when I was having a look at your lineup, and that's usually the case in past years, you bring some of the faces in the industry that they wouldn't speak otherwise at our events because they're sellers. They don't do this
Mhm.
for speaking thing for a living. So I think that makes your event really exclusive. So talking about speakers, I guess you have some of the also well-known names in the industry, and what I want to ask you about this is like, what can we expect from some of them? Like, what are some of the topics you're very excited about? That I think, wow, this speaker is going to talk about this, and nobody has spoken about this before. Are there some insights in terms of topics that you feel like this is something you really need to learn about? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's some really great topics that we have coming this year. So, we have the CEO of and president of Hexclad coming, which is, I think, a really
Mhm.
amazing company,
Yeah.
who's going to share some of their early success and kind of how they went from zero and kind of scaled up to what they are today,
Yeah.
which I'm really excited about. We have David Guillaume, who I sold Mary Ruth Organics and then bought it back.
No.
So that's like a really
That's
cool
happening a
story.
lot, by the way, with aggregators going
Yeah,
down,
yeah,
people buying back. Yeah.
exactly. But there's a bunch there. But honestly, what I'm really excited for, so John Durkitz is going to talk about. He's a great follow if you don't follow him on Twitter
Hmm.
or subscribe to his newsletter. But he's talking about ranking on the Amazon Deals page,
Hmm.
which as a seller, I run a lot of deals. I actually had one go viral on Prime Day, and I sold
Hmm.
5,000 units. So I would
Oh,
love to know how
wow.
to do that again because I'm not sure how
Yeah.
it happened.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm really excited about those. But there's just so many. There's got some AI topics we've got some
Hmm.
really great stuff on TikTok that I'm also excited for. So yeah, it's just some really great stuff.
Love it. And I think some of the things I also want to bring to the table is the fact as well of the dynamic of your events as well, because I feel some of the things that you're so well known when it comes to doing this type of events. It's not only about learning and that's it. It's also about what happens in between all these
Hmm.
keynotes and then working, which I strongly believe like most of the gold nugget sometimes as well is when you have this intimate conversation, just after a keynote you go and ask them a question, or you're having a dinner with that specific speaker, or you have those one-to-one moments that they wouldn't happen otherwise over a Zoom call or over just a email. So I guess tell us a little bit about what you have in mind for this year. Like, what are some of the things you're very excited when it comes to the activities as well that are going to allow these opportunities to happen for people that go to event. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I agree. That's like definitely like the biggest thing
Yeah.
for us. So one of the things we're doing this year is we actually have our event is on the water, Pier 60,
Hmm.
in New York City. So we're actually having a boat pull up next to it and take people on a
Nice.
cruise around the harbor. You can see the Statue of Liberty,
Cool.
Ellis Island, and it's a really great tour. So that's going to be really exciting. We also have a happy hour that's happening on site that's included in your ticket price, so no extra cost for alcohol or anything like that at the end of the event on the first day. So like that's a really fun thing to engage in. And also, we're gonna have a bunch of people there, like magicians, and I think a tarot card reader because we're close to
Hmm.
Halloween and all kinds of fun things happening. And then if you're part of the VIP track, we've got a VIP dinner that's also like going to be really a lot of fun also. So yeah, we've done a lot of different things to kind of engage and make sure people get engaged. But some of the people that attend our event are just people that don't attend a lot of events,
Hmm.
but are just giant sellers in and of themselves. I had a sponsor tell me last year that they were packing up, and in the last minutes of the show, some just random person they've never seen before walked over and was like, "Hey, that's interesting. Stuff
Service.
you got, yeah, software you
Yeah.
have there." and then it turns out that they were like a $200 million seller.
Oh wow.
That
Mm.
he's like obviously for them like just signing him up just justified the whole
Yeah.
sponsorship cost,
Yeah.
yeah, just there's people like that that I don't even know that come to the show that just love what we put on. So it's really great to see, and it's really great to just kind of talk to everyone and see what people are doing.
Yeah, and I think also one of the things that your show brings to the table is that you really have been able to tap into audiences, and I agree that you don't see our events like it's like it's really a unique kind of community. And I guess just as a question to you, like, what do you feel you have done different to really tap into these other sellers or micro audiences? Is it like because of the history you've been doing with all the success of your events, so it's because of the dynamic that's completely different? Like, what do you feel is has created this unique kind of tapping into these bubbles, in terms of sellers,
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a lot of what I mentioned before in terms
Mm,
of just us being sellers, putting on the event that we want to
mm,
see, not having it, a ton of sponsored sessions, um, right? And I think that's like a big piece of it. But I think also, having it in New York City helps a lot too. We're pretty close to a lot of people, so they don't have to fly to
mhm.
Vegas or fly to Florida or something like that. Whereas, in New York, there's a ton of people that can, within like a 4 or 5 hour driving distance, even they can come for a couple of days and just kind of make that work for themselves. So, I think
Yeah.
that's definitely helpful for sure. But yeah, that and just getting different speakers that people have never seen before that they want to see. So, there's people that a lot of these guys want to see. So, yeah,
Yeah, for
a
sure.
lot, a lot of, a
Yeah.
lot of, yeah.
Yeah, and I think also in terms of communities, like it's not secret. Like I know for a fact that when it comes to New York, there's also in that area some of the biggest Amazon sellers as well, right? So I guess that also has helped to some extent your community to be always, surrounded by sellers that have so much wisdom when it comes to
hmm
Amazon that allow you to tap into strategies that you're not gonna hear anywhere else, right?
Yep, exactly, for sure.
Yeah, yeah. So I guess in terms of our takeaways, like I know we just mentioned some of the main topics and agenda, but from you as the founder and you as an Amazon seller as well, that they've been to so many events, like why you also think is very important for for sellers to go to events like this, like what are maybe some of the takeaways in the past that have contributed to your Amazon business, like
Yeah.
why you think they're important for you?
So I always think that when you have really great speakers, first of all, there are some people, they kind of fall into two categories, right? There are some that are just inspiring, that get you, you come home and you're like ready to go and you're excited to work on your business
Hmm.
again. And I think that that helps a lot because the people, you tend to work by yourself. A lot of people in like their basements or in their
Hmm.
side room or something like that. I'm in my basement right now, right? But I think that that's that there's like that kind of speaker. Then there's the kind of speaker where you like, I always think if you can take one or two tips, even like that's it, that like can help you, at the size of your business, then that's amazing. Right. And then it's really just the connections you can make as well. So I think that is huge too. People to help you, people to get to know, people that you can learn from. I said, like, I was talking to Jabron from Utopia Deals the
Hmm.
other day, and he was like saying, like, who are the big sellers that are coming? I want to meet some of them. Right. So, and even at his level, he wants to network and wants to get to know people. Right. So I think it's important, for sure, to really to network and to understand. And if you have a problem, you have friends who might have your back, or maybe you've been through it before, or even know the right service provider to point you to, or the right person to help you. Right. So I think there's a ton of reasons why going to events is important and why it can help grow your business, even just beyond like the like what the speaker is going to say on stage, which I do also think is important.
Yeah, and I think we as sellers, let's be honest, our journey is very lonely sometimes. Like we always
Yeah.
behind the screen, like we don't have a lot of people understand our fears or concerns. The risk that we take to really pull this business out of the ground. And I think sometimes surrounded with like-minded people is definitely a huge advantage. Like I remember when I was getting started, nobody really understood all the issues I was going through as a seller. And then started going to events like this. It really allowed me to, first of all, believe more on the business model, because I think you need to reassure yourself, like when you see all these successful people, you actually can achieve it. But on top of that, you create those communities where you can rely on, like when you're having a listing suspension, when you have your inventory getting lost, when you have those issues that you don't have nobody to rely on, like you have these communities that are gonna be there for you. And what you've been doing with Amazon Innovate is just that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. So I guess how people can basically find out information. I know we have like a unique a promotion, and thank you so much for that, for our community and everything. Which, by the way, for everybody watching the episode, you can find it down below. But do you wanna tell us a little bit about that and how people can claim it? Yeah.
Yeah, if you just go to innovate.show, it'll take you to buy a ticket on Eventbrite, and you can look for, just enter that code, and you'll save $100 off any kind of ticket you want. So, yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Cool. Anything else, Brandon? You think you want to share with or community about the event, or
Yeah,
any last piece of wisdom? Yeah.
no, I think it's a great event, and I think also as an attendee, it's a really great value. Given the happy hour that we're providing, and the
I love that. I love
lunches
I
and all
love
the
happy hours.
yeah, and all the food, and all of that. I think it's like a real, and being in Manhattan with the cost of Manhattan, I think it's a really great
Yeah.
value. We don't make a ton of money on this event. A lot of it's for the community, and just really like getting people involved, and talking and networking. So I think it's a really great show, and yeah, I hope everyone comes.
Awesome, Brandon. So thank you so much. I can wait to see you soon. Yeah, let's keep in touch. Keep crushing them, man. You're doing amazing. And see you on the next one. Yeah. Thank you so
All right,
much.
sounds good.
Okay. See
Okay,
you, bro. Bye bye.
bye.